Welcome back to the New York Times Close-Up. You see Chester Higgins Jr.'s photographs in the New York Times with regularity. You may not know he's been called the preeminent photographer of the African diaspora. He's gone to Ethiopia, Mali, Senegal, Ghana more than 30 times since his first trip when he was 25 in 1971. There's a remarkable exhibit of his work on view at TechServe on West 23rd Street in Chelsea, now through June 13th. My Soul Flies Home to Africa. Images from an ongoing journey. Chester, what keeps drawing you back?
Well, you know, I find that when we get out of our comfort zone and we reach out to understand other people, it broadens us and also helps us realize what's missing in our own lives. And as an African American, obviously a lot of the history of Africa is missing. So I just do a lot of discovery in terms of what has been the history, and as well as the current events that's going on in Africa and the people. And now over time, I've made many relationships. I have many nephews, adopted nephews and nieces from different families on the west coast of Africa and the east coast of Africa. And my wife and I have just made many good friends that we like to go back to see, as well as doing the work that I do. But what fundamentally brings me back is the work, is being able to show and capturing photographs, things that I didn't know.
And things that people here would not ordinarily see.
Absolutely.
Let's take a look at some of the photographs, and if you can just tell us in a couple of words what we're looking at.
Here we're looking at Lalibela, where there's a mountaintop town where they, in the 13th century, dug churches, 11 churches out of the rock of the mountain, separated the inner portion of the rock from the outer portion, and chiseled it into sacred churches that they are still used today.
I remember you told me you understood when you were in the Middle East and you saw the stars looking up from Egypt or the Sudan. You saw the sky and you said, no wonder religion began here.
Right, right. It looks like that the stars are so upon you that on one hand it looks like you can reach up and touch them, but I also like to think that you can see where the stars look like the very floor of heaven. Mm-hmm. Here's a picture of a young kid in a group, tribal group, that every morning when they wash, they paint themselves, and they paint themselves as a daily message to the spirit. This is a temple from 1500 BC in Ethiopia, a temple to the moon called Yeha. It's about maybe 8 stories high, and it had columns, so archaeologists say. But this is part of that old religion of Shiva, before Shiva's time, that they share with the Egyptians. And this is where the Nile starts this 4,000-mile journey out of Ethiopia down to the Mediterranean, passing Sudan and where it joins the White Nile in Khartoum and continues down through Egypt to the Mediterranean. This is probably about a 15-story fall here.
It's beautiful.
This young woman this child is really beautiful. She's in the southern part of Ethiopia, in the southern tribe. She's a Surma teenager, and TechServe used this in their window to announce the show. And I thought it was just really interesting how they, women do an awful lot of things with decorative stuff. And here she's using boar horns hanging from on the top of her neck because ears could not support it.
Is that ceremonial dress, or is it everyday attire?
It's just everyday attire that I can see. And what you can't see is his garment is made out of cow skin. This is in a tunnel that goes through a mountain that follows a river for about 7 miles, and this is the entrance to this tunnel. And it's a sacred cave for Muslims in the Bale section of Ethiopia. There's a young man doing his prayer. This is what Ethiopia looks like. Ethiopia is made up of highlands and lowlands, and it goes anywhere from 5,000 to 9,000 feet. And this is what you look out at as you drive, because I drive, I don't fly. I rent a car and a driver, and I just take the 6 weeks traveling throughout the country and just seeing, as I go from place to place, seeing things all along the way.
What is the reaction of the people you're photographing? Did they say you are an interloper, an American coming to examine them, to critique them, or do they welcome you sort of as a fellow human being?
Well, I like to think they welcome me as a fellow human being for 2 reasons. One is that I try to sit and reason with people before I photograph. I'm not really there. I don't wear on my sleeve that I'm here to make you a picture. Rather than I'm just here to experience and sort of kick back and hang out with you. And in the course of something, I may make a picture, but I'm very interested in what they do. And I have done research to know a lot about the different things that they do, especially ceremonies, so that people get a sense that I have invested some time, and that even though I'm not Ethiopian, I'm someone who seemed to be serious.
Do you know where your family is from way back?
Yes, from what I'm a fourth generation, and my great-great-grandfather was lucky or unlucky to be captured as a teenager and brought to this country before slavery was outlawed by the British. So our people come from Senegambia, and he was enslaved in a plantation in the Carolinas, and when the Southern troops went through, he joined up with when the Northern troops went through and defeating the Southerners, he joined up with the North, and they were mustered out in Baldwin County, Alabama, after the end of the war.
Fascinating story. Chester Higgins, Jr. of the New York Times. The exhibit of his work, My Soul Flies Home to Africa, on view at TechServe on West 23rd Street through June 13th. The Times Reporters Roundtable convenes right after these messages.